Hello and welcome to She Boss Talk. I am Shante Roddy coming on with another stimulus update, specifically regarding the SBA grant and loan programs that are available that have been rolled out. I know a lot of you entrepreneurs and small business owners have been sending me tons and tons of questions. So I want to make sure that I bring you the important information. So again, that you can get a financial lifeline for you, your family, and your businesses. So do come on in as you're joining. Do let me know that you can hear me and see me clearly. I want to make sure you can get all the information that you need. Do let me know who you are, where you are hailing from, right? This is the first time since May, right? We're in a new month. Just want to welcome you to the new month, right? We have so many goals to accomplish. I know I have been busy. I'm sure you all have too. With all of these different programs rolling out. I know a lot of you all have had challenges. There's been some successes, but we really want to make sure you get the information that you need so that you can apply for and win the money that is available in the billions and billions of dollars, most of which is being administered by the SBA. So that's what I want to make sure that I'm bringing you all updates as much as I can, and then allow you all to ask questions as well. So this is your time. If you have a question, if you're working on any of the applications that are out there, this is the time to drop them. That's why my videos are typically longer than other videos that you may see, because I take the time to answer questions. I want to make sure you have everything that you need. As you're all coming on too, do give this a thumbs up so more people see it. Do share out this video and this channel. Do subscribe if you have not subscribed already. We've reached over 21,000 subscribers. So thank you to our subscriber family out there. We thank you so much for your support. Thank you for all of you all that continuously share out our content. You may not know how much you are helping other entrepreneurs and small business owners out there. That's why we try to share the success stories that we hear about, that people, they come back to us, they share their testimonies, so that you know that you are really helping someone by that small, whatever that small thing is, by sharing information, by reaching out to people, telling them come see our channel. You are really helping entrepreneurs and small businesses out there. So let's get right to it. The breaking news is, one of the biggest news is that the SBA has opened, as of yesterday, Monday, they opened the application portal for the Restaurant Revitalization Grant Fund. This is a grant up to $10 million. Now, I do not know why I post about it. I've done videos about it. I did a video last week to let you all know that the registration was open for the portal, but for some reason people aren't really interested, or maybe that you all don't think that you apply or think that you qualify. It says restaurant, but it's really open. It's a broad definition of who qualifies for this program. If you or someone you know is in the food, right, or beverage industry, and meaning that the public goes on site to buy any type of food product or beverage. It could be coffee, it could be tea, it could be alcohol, right? It could be vegan, whatever. You can sell peanuts. You can have a restaurant. You can have a bar. You can have a winery, a distillery. You can have a food truck, food cart. You could have a kiosk that sells food in the airport or in the mall and qualify for this grant up to $10 million. Dollars is the cap. So I have explainer videos on there. I have a few people that have been reaching out to me, asking me questions about this grant. I want you to know also, you can have started your restaurant or your food business in 2021 and still qualify for this grant. You could have started and not made a sale and qualify for the grant. It just depends on the business. When you started, they have a number of different how you can calculate how much you would get in a loan amount. Now, the minimum loan that you can get, grant. This is a grant, not a loan. The minimum is $1,000 to qualify for this program. So the minimum in order to qualify is $1,000. So I would encourage you all to go back to our explainer videos. I have 4 or 5 videos. Go visit the SBA website at Restaurant restaurants.sba.gov. You can also go to our YouTube wall and Facebook wall and see more information, detailed outline of every different category that you could possibly fit and be able to qualify. Now, this is a near $29 billion program, but they are anticipating that this will go quickly. It's first come, first serve. This grant is going to, in the first 21 days, it may not make it 21 days, okay? So this is how important it is to get it out to underrepresented communities, because this is who's getting the grant first, okay? Women, veterans, minorities, underserved, economically and socially underserved communities get the first 21 days of processing. That doesn't mean if you fall outside of that you cannot apply, because we encourage you to apply. These groups will be processed first. Their applications will be processed first. So again, if you have not applied, let me know if you have applied. If you're a restaurant owner, if you're in the food beverage industry, let me know who you are, what your business is. If you're not sure if you qualify, let me know. I will follow up and clarify for you to let you know if you qualify for this program, but you probably do and don't even know about it. So this is the Restaurant Revitalization Fund. Do apply if you haven't already. We know right before this, they reopened the Shuttered Venue Operators Grant. Okay, so this is another grant program, again, up to $10 million. You may have a establishment or a venue that may qualify for both the restaurant and Shuttered Venue, but you cannot get both. You cannot have a pending application for both. So you just want to make sure which one is the better fit for you. What we do know, again, this is another program that's going to go really fast. It is the same way, first come, first serve. We already know in the first 24 hours of the application reopening, 17,000 small businesses applied. So we want to make sure you all are getting the information, the people that you know. That's why it's so important for us to do the outreach that we're doing. That's so important. It's important for you all to share out the information as well. So that information on the Shuttered Venue Operators Grant can be found on the SBA website. We have at least 5 videos on the program as well. So these are venues. So again, maybe you have a small theater, aquarium, a museum, a live venue where people come, they pay tickets to see a live person perform, right? Whether it's an artist, musician, poet, comedian. So that gives you an example of what consists of a shuttered live venue. Also, if you represent live talent, right, these artists that perform live, you can qualify for this grant as well. Likewise, this particular grant also has a supplemental grant as well. Now, we do not know yet when they will roll that out, because again, they just reopened the portal because they had to work through some technical challenge, get the system up and running. So I did a live on that, took you through the registration portal so you can see how it operates, and it's much better than when it first opened and it crashed almost immediately. So again, that's why it's important not to hesitate, delay, procrastinate, because it is a lot of money, but there are millions of businesses that have been impacted. They're trying to get the money to the hardest hit businesses. So if you fall into any of these categories, make sure that you apply for these programs. So again, this one is the Shuttered Venue Operators Grant. And if I'm not mistaken, for that grant, you need to have been in business as of February 29th of 2020. One thing I do know for both of the programs, the Shuttered Venue and Restaurant, you can get Eidl, you can get PPP. One thing that you will be asked on the application, you need to be consider in your calculation of how much you would get, is that your grant money will be offset by any PPP funds. Okay, so I just want to make sure that that's clear. Whatever that grant amount will be offset by your Paycheck Protection Fund that you have already received, but you can apply for both. So that wasn't always the case. They made changes to allow you to apply while they were waiting to get these programs up and running, to make sure that you could get everything that you need, sustain yourself with the PPP money, but it will just be your grants will be offset by that amount. Okay. So that's the Restaurant Revitalization Grant, Shuttered Venue Operators Grant. Again, applications are open. So that's wonderful. PPP. Time is running out. This is the Paycheck Protection Program. We know this is one of the biggest programs that came out of the CARES Act that has been extended multiple times, funding added to it multiple times. This is administered by the SBA. You must be it have been in operation your business as of February 15th of 2020. This program is available, is for gig workers, independent contractors, self-employed individuals, 1099 workers, small business owners with employees of 500 or less. You can apply for first draw and second draw. There's still time to do it. But what I want to let you know is that there are more and more protocols being put in place across the board, okay, due to fraud and scams. So I will be doing a special video tomorrow on fraud and scams to go in more detail about what you should be looking out for. But this is really important. I mean, I have some of the lenders that we work with that have put out official announcements as to the level of fraud that is out there and things that they're doing and things that the SBA is doing. So I just want to make sure that you all are aware out there that you're doing your due diligence, that you're protecting yourselves, okay? That is so important. So I'll be talking about that tomorrow. But you should be applying for the Paycheck Protection Program. It is a 100% forgivable loan. It is easy to get it forgiven. You must spend at least 60% on payroll. Then you can spend the other 40% on other business-related expenses. If you are self-employed, you can spend the entire 100% on your salary replacement, owner's compensation, different terms, okay? 100% and get the PPP. Now, I'm talking to legitimate businesses, okay? And you can work a 9-to-5 and have a side hustle. So I know a lot of you have work a 9-to-5, you have a side hustle, and you're thinking you don't qualify. You do. You can, okay? So there are minimums on this as well. The lenders, SBA has approved lenders that are responsible for processing your applications. There is, as we get closer to the deadline, which is May the 31st, and the funds may not be there by that deadline. We have not heard anything about added more funding or an extension of this program. People have been asking me, do not wait. The time is right now. It's open. There's no guarantee they will extend it again. They just extended it, and this may be the last time. But as a self-employed person, for each draw, you can get up to $20,833. If you get your loan forgiven, there's no reason why you shouldn't be able to. It's so easy, especially for those that receive $150,000 or less. The application process is super simple. Okay. But you need to make sure that they are vetting, they are looking closely at this. So just as long as you are operating with integrity, you're answering the questions correctly to the best of your knowledge, you're not working with shady people that don't know what they're doing, or you're giving it off to people that you think they're giving information, one set of information, they're giving another. And so just be mindful of that you should know what's happening with your application, even if someone else is actually helping to put it through. But I'll go in more detail about that tomorrow because it is so important to be able to do that. But we have to do our due diligence as small business owners. There's a lot of people out there, scam artists, that are trying to take advantage of vulnerable small businesses. And unfortunately, a lot of you all out there are getting scammed. And then you're left with the ball. And then that means that then you're the one that's considered fraudulent. Okay. So we want to avoid those types of things from happening. Just make sure you have all your proper documentation that you need. But time is running out. The closer we get to the deadline, the less lenders that will be lending. So again, and then the longer it's going to take because the demand is up. So it may take a little bit longer because someone asked me about one yesterday or earlier this morning. They signed their loan documents. They have their loan number and they're waiting on the deposit. one thing to know, if see, I can't wait to the scam video, because this is important. You may be flagged for fraud and not even know it. They may not even tell you, and you thinking, what's going on with my application? Okay, but it's going to be stuck. They flagged it for fraud? Okay, so that it could be a number of different reasons. So it's important to follow up on all these different applications, get a status, find out what's going on. Because if they any inclination of fraud, they will flag it. They will stop processing it. They won't do anything, and they're not going to send you an email notification. They may not send you an email notification of that. Okay, so that's important to do, is just to make contact, make sure you're doing everything that you need to do, and that you are operating, in with integrity. Okay. So, but do get those applications out. If you have received first draw, let me know. If you received second draw, let me know. I know I was funded relatively quickly. The process was quick for first draw and second draw. The first one took 17 days in total, from the time I applied to the time I received the deposit. And then the second one was around about that time. It might have been a few days longer. But it was because something I did. I held up the process. So, but it was still relatively quick. And so if there's a problem with you getting the deposit, you want to make sure it's not because of your bank account. I've heard those issues, right? And I've said that before. If you get approved for any of these programs, but your bank account is flagged, or the bank shuts it down, or you've closed it, or they close it, then you're not going to be able to get your money that you are due. So I monitor my bank account regularly. You want to call them before you even start with the process, especially when you're talking about these newer grants with $10 million. Is your account set up to receive those large types of payments, right? And if you have a personal account, most likely it is not. And even if it is, it may be flagged because it is not a business account. It's unusual payment coming through. So it is your best interest to just make contact with your bank ahead of time. Let them know that you're applying for an SBA grant, and it could be amounts that are large, and let them know what amount it could be, because you're doing the calculations. You should know before you apply what you could potentially be getting. So at least they know in advance, and then they don't go shut your account down. It's just been a huge mess for some people because of these bank account situations. So again, we want you to avoid those issues, or if you have experienced those issues, try to overcome those relatively quickly. Okay. So that is PPP. I want to move on really quickly. Let's get those applications in. Time is running out. Okay. That more free money for your business. Some of the easiest money to get. Just do your due diligence and be patient. Just make sure you do everything that is in your control. Eidl. Want to really quickly mention the Eidl loan program. The Eidl loan program, as a reminder, there's been an increase on the caps. So increase as far as your loan amount, it went from 6 months to 24 months of increase in your loan amounts, and the cap went from 150,000 to 500,000 is the current cap. Now, if you have a loan and you have received the increase, the invitation from the SBA for the increase, let me know. If you received your increase to 24 months, let me know in the comments as well. If you're still waiting, let me know. Now, I know that the SBA has updated their portal to include an additional button for you to be able to request increase. And if you have had access to that button and have submitted through the portal, please let me know as well. This is for the Eidl loan program. Now, the Eidl loan program is not a forgivable loan. But one thing that the SBA did, and I reminded one of my peers earlier today, so I want to make sure that you know, if you have an Eidl loan, that payments have been deferred until 2020, just based on when you received your loan. but all of them have been deferred as far as when your first payment is due, because some people right now, their payments will be due like right now, but it's been pushed to 2020. So I want you to make sure that you know that. You can always follow up with the SBA regarding your loan. Now, people asked about interest. Interest is still accruing on those loans, but you can pay back a loan at any point. These repayment, there's no repayment penalty or penalty to pay a loan, any SBA loans back early. But that's something that you should know. And then also, if you have an Eidl loan, the Eidl, those that took it out in 2020, the SBA has come knocking. Okay. So after you apply for these programs, I always say check your email, monitor your emails, continue to do so. Just make it a habit because right now the SBA is sending out emails when you signed yours. So these are compliance requests. And so two of them I'm going to let you know right now that you can be possibly expecting. One is a compliance document, which is the board resolution request form. So just want to just thank one of my peers that had brought this to my attention. She said that the SBA had emailed her for this form. Now, the thing about this is that the SBA doesn't give you the form, and they don't even provide you with an example of the form, but you need to provide it. But then they're going to tell you if it's not right, okay? So I would think that they would provide some type of a template, but really, this is one of those business type documents that you really should have in your business. And this is for, again, the loan program in compliance with the documents that you sign. Also, verification, insurance. So when you sign those loan papers, you stated that you had insurance, business insurance. If you're a sole proprietor or business with no employees, or like a home-based business, they may ask you for your homeowner's insurance or renter's insurance policy. So look out for those emails because they are coming. So people are emailing me every day about these various scenarios. Whenever, just expect that the SBA, some government entity, will come back and ask you for some proof, some validation, or follow-up compliance information. And just be ready to provide it. Expect that they will do that. Okay. And I know with the Restaurant Revitalization Fund, there's a lot of post-grant follow-up and reporting that is required as part of the program. And also, if you don't use the money, you have until, I believe it's March. I don't want to get the date wrong, but I know it's until 2023 to spend that grant money. And if you do not spend it all, you have to return the part that you do not spend. So you definitely want to make sure that you understand the programs that you are signing up for, that you read the information, that you read through you watch the webinars that the SBA provides, read through the FAQs and the program detail documents. They have a lot of important information in there for you that I highly recommend that you read and make sure that you understand it and understand the full responsibilities that you have as an individual or a business getting SBA funding. Okay, that is so important. Okay. Now, we talked about the Eidl grant. Again, compliance documents, they're going to be sending them. You need to be able to provide them. That can impact your funding. Okay. So Eidl loan. Now let's talk about the targeted Eidl grants. We know right now invitations are going out. Now I want to let you know that back in 2020, when they passed the bill at the end of 2020, they allocated $20 billion. Then when they passed the American Rescue Plan Act of 2021, they added an additional $15 billion. The $20 billion has already already been allocated to applicants, meaning it's been approved, and businesses have been funded with those dollars. And so with the latest funding, they're not even 25% through that funding yet. So if you haven't received your invitation yet, you can still expect to get invites. Again, this is for anyone that applied to the Eidl program on or before December 27th. You should get an invite from the SBA. If you don't see it in your inbox, you need to be checking your spam folder. You need to be checking your promotional folder, just depending on what type of email system you use. I've heard people finding them in all different types of folders. Now mine, it comes to my business email, and it always lands in my inbox. I've never had a SBA email go to my spam folder, but many people have. And so many people have missed their invites that have a time requirement on them. Okay. So the targeted, this is for your ability to get the full $10,000 or the balance thereof, just depending how much you received when they initially rolled it out in 2020. I received mine. So I'm so thankful for that. Took over a year to get it. But I did meet that qualification for it, which means you had to have 300 employees or less, be able to demonstrate a 30% decrease in gross receipts, and then be in a low income community, which I am. So invitations are still going out. People are still being approved, and people have been denied as well. So, but the SBA put in a formal process, evaluation process, so that if you have been denied and think you have been denied in error, and you can prove that you can overcome that denial, then submit a request for reevaluation. We have a video on that process. So if you need help on any of these programs, really, we have videos on all the programs. Okay. But if you've been denied, but if it's denial, like 30%, a denial such as you're not in a low income community and you're not, it doesn't make sense to submit a request for reevaluation. Now, if you're borderline and your map said that you're there and they said you're not, then you want to submit a request for reconsideration, or you're borderline. So these are some of the issues that advocates have taken to Congress and the SBA. So we can just monitor to see what may or may not happen with regards to that. One of the new protocols that they put in place for the Eidl, not just the Eidl, but you can see them across the board with these new programs, is that the request for Form 4506T, we know with the targeted EIDLs, people were being declined because IRS does not have record of your tax return, even though you filed it, because they're behind. Now, this is a fraud detector. And this was something that was not in the earlier bill that they put in the newer bill, which is why you're seeing the request for this form come up more and more. Because this is and would have been a deterrent from fraudsters, because they do a match. Believe me, whatever happens, the SBA will find it out. The IRS will find it out. The Inspector General, somebody's going to find out if you're not providing truthful information. But this is one of the things that they use to determine if you're a legitimate business, if you actually filed real business taxes. And so, this is one of those things that you can file a request for reevaluation on with a tax return. So I don't know quite how they're going to handle that but they have put in additional fraud protocols as well. There's more protocols as far as you verifying your identity across the board for a lot of these different programs. I mean, I applied the other day, and I submitted my ID and it wouldn't take the 4 squares. And so they're serious. So whether they have you screenshot yourself on the screen or providing front and back, providing a copy of your social security cards, they're asking for that now. So they're asking for a lot of information to verify that you're who you say you are, because there's a lot of identity theft with these programs, and to verify that your business is what it is. Okay. So, just let me know what your status is. If you got the $10,000 or the balance thereof, let me know in the comments. Definitely congratulations to you all who have received that. If you've been denied, again, stay the course. Stay the course, right? Submit your reevaluation and see that process through so you can get your funding. They also rolled out the supplemental grants of $5,000. So the max of this program that you can potentially get is $15,000 in grant money, free money. This is not a loan. It does not have to be paid back. And guess what? It is tax-free. Okay. It's another tax-free program. Not all programs are tax-free. Not all grant programs are tax-free. This one is. Okay. This does not have to be paid back. It is free money. So max is $15,000. To qualify for the extra $5,000 supplement, you need to also be in a low-income community, but this time you need to have 10 employees or less, and you must meet the 50% or greater decrease in gross receipts in 2020 compared to 2019. And this is over across the 8-week period. So it's not the entire year. They look at an 8-week period based on the information that you provide and see if you meet the 30% for the 10,000 and then 50% for the supplemental $5,000 grant. Now they've already started sending invites. So if you got the invite for the supplemental grant, let me know. If you've been approved, let me know. I've heard some people have been approved, and if you actually received your deposit of your supplemental grant, let us know in the comments as well. And if that is you, that means that you have received a total of $15,000 in free grant money from the SBA, from this program. Okay. So again, under Eidl, you can get one of their loans. You can qualify for the targeted EIDL grant and the supplemental grant. Now, if you don't qualify due to any of the reasons like 30% gross receipts or low income community, I encourage you to reach out to your congressional representatives, go to Twitter, call them, email them to let them know that under the CARES Act law, you are entitled to the full $10,000. Okay. And that you want your $10,000. These are campaigns we've been doing for over a year, which brought us here, but it's still not enough because there's still people being left out that should get the full $10,000, right? We know everybody that applies should get the full $10,000 that checked that box that said that they wanted it. Okay, so the fight isn't over. We're still fighting to get the full $10,000 for everyone that qualified for it when it launched back in 2020. Okay, so that is the PPP program. Again, a lot of funding out here. Just a reminder to those child care providers, this is not administered by the SBA. It is the Child Care Provider Grant, Black grants. We have videos on those as well. Is administered by the Department of Health and Human Services, and the dollars are being rolled out to the states, and each state has block grants that will have extra funding added to them. So you definitely want to reach out to your state agencies about those child care block grants. Now, really quickly before I close out, I'm just going to see if there are any questions here. Hello, I see all of you all that are out there, just looking to see if there's any specific questions. So I hope you all are applying for these different programs and telling your friends and your families that you know are entrepreneurs and small business owners. If you need help, we have a ton of videos for free. I offer consultation and assistance for a fee. Of course, and we'll talk about that tomorrow because some of you are paying ridiculous fees for people, and you should not be. And on top of that, you're getting scammed. It just makes no sense. Okay, so there are rules around what people can charge, when they can charge it, and how much they can charge. Okay. So again, you just have to do your due diligence. There are other organizations out here as well that can help. I'm a mentor with SCORE. Contact your local SCORE office. We do webinars and help sessions mentoring from SCORE. Contact your small business development centers, your women business development center, and your local SBA as well. Go visit and follow the SBA Facebook page. Regularly, they are hosting webinars, and they just held one last week. And they had a briefing with the head of the SBA, Ms. Gunsman. So I was on that call, and I was on the webinar that was after that, just so I can stay in the know, so I can bring you all the information. But a lot of these questions, sometimes you are asking, if you attend some of these webinars, it will get your questions answered. So I'm going to answer some of these questions. Have I heard anyone getting denied for first draw stating they already got funded from another? Yes. That's second and first draw. So usually when that happens, you definitely want to check, okay, and call your lender. I know that happened to me, but it was my fault, okay. And the reason was first, it was with the second draw, because when I applied, I went to the wrong place and applied for round 1 instead of round 2. So what I did was I withdrew that application. And then I was able to see it because I was like, I haven't applied anywhere else. But I applied for 2 first draws instead of the second draw. Usually on your application portal where you go, make sure you scroll down and make sure that it is round 2 that you're applying for and not round 1. I've heard instances where people have applied with different lenders and you sign loan documents, so you have it pending. That's whether it's first draw or second draw, that can cause you a problem as well, because whichever one you get approved for first, you just need to go ahead and do that. Because if you get approved somewhere else, then it may say that you already have a loan that's been approved by the SBA. So the best thing to do with anything, for any challenges, is to follow up with your lender. And this is regarding the Paycheck Protection Program, because that is lender driven. Everything goes through the lender and not the SBA. Okay. So, and all the lenders have contact information. They should have an email. They should have a phone number. Not all of them are quick on being responsive. And again, as we get closer and closer to the deadline, it seems like it's taking longer and longer. But that may be the reason. Because sometimes if you're applying so many places and you forget where you apply for or what the status is, and if you're not following up, that can become a real issue. I mean, so I've seen all types of scenarios. I'm not sure which one is yours, but yes, I have heard of that. Okay, we have someone else that has signed loan documents. Awesome. Someone asked me, okay, they signed the loan documents, they got the loan number. How long does it take to get the funding in your bank account? I don't know that. It depends. Every lender is different. I know for both of mine, it only took a few days. It didn't take longer than 3 days. So why some of these lenders you get to that stage and it's like a week or 2, or it's just stopped at that point. Once you have an SBA loan number, you should really get the deposit. So you should follow up with your lender to see what is the holdup with you getting the deposit. Okay. And make sure it's not your bank account that's causing the problem, which a lot of people, it is the problem. Okay. Because your bank is not set up to receive that kind of money. Or there's an issue, they can't match the bank account, or you transpose the number. If they can't match it verbatim, you will not get a deposit. That's why I double, triple, quadruple check, especially this time, because again, that's why I didn't get my money from the grant from the SBA in 2020, because they couldn't match it. And I'm like, I know I give them all the right information. So I just gave them my other account information just to make a clean slate. And then once my PPP, I was like, my PPP went through. So my PPP went through, my targeted Eidl grant should go through as well. Shouldn't have any problems. And if it did, I knew it was the SBA because I know my account is correct. Okay. If we just apply during a period of second draw, we allowed to apply for, I don't know if that's accurate, but once you apply for first draw, hopefully I'm understanding you, because you said second and second draw. Once you apply for our fund and receive the funds for first draw, you can apply for second draw. You no longer have to wait the 8 weeks. You do need to be allocating the money. So you need however you are in your business, and especially for those that are self-employed, you have no employees. That goes towards your salary replacement. That means you must allocate, set it up where you are paying yourself. That's harder for those that don't have business accounts. That's another reason you should have a business account, because you can set up bill pay, but you can also do this through your accounting system. Use an accounting system like QuickBooks, Xero, Wave apps to pay yourself the salary, and it must show that way. And just real quickly, I'll mention this tomorrow as well, but I think there's a misconception that that if you, because you're not getting millions of dollars, right? It's under 150, or you may have gotten 10,000. That the SBA doesn't treat that the same, that there won't be watchful eyes on you, that they won't come back and ask you for information. That is incorrect. Just prepare that they just know that they can and most likely will ask you for some type of information. Okay. Now they may not do it. They can investigate anybody's file. There's no amount on that. So I know that there's safe harbor for those, back in 2020 when, all those, public companies got money and they asked them to return it back. Then they created a safe harbor where there would be like no penalties, right? No criminal charges, no nothing under certain circumstances if they return the money. Okay. But after that, there's no safe harbor. And I know they have a certain criteria for audits. But there's nothing that says that they can't come back and investigate your file, regardless of how much you received. Okay, someone else is saying that they received the Eidl last year. Yeah, you should. Yes, you should receive an invite, ma'am. Chrissy, if you applied on or before December 27th, and if you received your partial grant or no grant at all, you should get an invite. Someone is saying their amount has been confirmed and no update in 4 weeks. Have you reached out to them? Have you reached out to your lender? That's crazy. Unless, again, that you've been confirmed and it's been 4 weeks is crazy. Now, I don't know if it's a fraud flag. I'll talk about that tomorrow. But that's the only reason I can see that there would be a holdup like that. And that if it was approved by the SBA, I mean, you got a loan number, unless they found out something after the fact. I mean, you should have gotten your money already. That doesn't make sense. So you shouldn't be waiting 4 weeks. Someone else applied for PPP, only eligible for 6. Why are other people getting 20? Because it's based on, all of these programs have a calculation. Okay. So if you're applying for PPP, especially those that are self-employed, the calculation is this. Even as you have employers and you're calculating your owner's compensation, the max earnings is 100,000. What you're looking at is your tax form Schedule C. Okay. Your gross amount. Now, I don't know if you did it or someone else did it, because again, I've heard of people doing incorrect calculations. They changed the rules that say instead of your net, you can use your gross, which gives you more money and helps more people qualify. But you take that line 7, whatever that line 7 number is different for every business. So that's why everybody would get a different amount. There's no standard amount. The max for owner's compensation is $20,833. You take line 7, you divide it by 12, then you multiply that by 2.5 months of working capital. And if you're in the food industry, you can multiply it by 3.5 months of working capital. Whatever that amount is your loan amount. So before you even submit your application what the loan amount is. Like every time they came back with the same amount that I said it was, because I just used the formula. It's based on the formula. Okay. So that's why if people are getting 20,000, and again, a lot of times people comparing themselves to other applicants and they don't have the full story. They don't know that person's full profile, right? What they applied on. And some of these people, there's fraud in both of these programs. So I can't guarantee you that they didn't have somebody help them that fudged the numbers. And it will come back. So we'll be talking about that tomorrow. I mean, it's amazing what's going on. Okay, so we still have people waiting on the supplemental grant. If I get it, I will let you all know. I'm monitoring my emails to see if I get it. I know for the supplemental grant, there's $5 billion set aside for 1 million businesses. So we know that everybody that received the 10,000 will not get the supplemental grant. Only 1 million will get it, unless at some point they decide to again extend the program, add additional funding. But $5 billion has been set aside. I'm not understanding the question of the franchise owner. Can you clarify your question for me, please? Thank you. First lender approved like 3 weeks, but never funded. But reaching out to, yeah. So I don't know. It's a lot of you are getting stuck in that you're approved. You've gotten the loan number. If you have an SBA loan number, that means you are approved for sure. And now why you're not, the lender hasn't deposited your money, that's why you need to get in contact with them and figure out what is the holdup. Once that happens, it should not take that long. Okay. Someone is saying, be sure to clarify your statement regarding the loan repayment. You said it has been extended to 20. No, I meant to say 2022. I thought I said 2022. So that's for Eidl loans. If you were funded Eidl loans, it's been extended to 2022. We're in 2021. So I hope that clarifies. Has anyone heard if you've appealed, right? If you've gone through the reevaluation process for a denial on the targeted Eidl grant, have you heard back from the SBA? If you have heard back, what have they said? Did they approve you, or did they come back with a denial or a request for more information? So we like to know that. We have a question by one of the viewers. Wow, it's a lot of people that signed the documents and never received the funding. So I don't know if you've applied for somewhere else, but that's where it may become an issue, because then, okay, now you apply for somewhere else, and then they may tell you already have a loan that's approved by the SBA. So then you got to go back to that lender and try to withdraw it. But then that's further delaying the process. We're at this point less than 30 days from them, the program ending. The deadline is May 31st, so it's not a lot of time. Yes, very, very low amount of targeted Eidl grants of the 15 billion has been allocated. So there's still plenty of money to go around. They've been slower this time than the SBA than with the first 20 billion. I think my understanding is that they got through that 20 billion in like the first 3 or 4 weeks. Okay. All right. So those are the questions. If you have more, as always, leave them. I'll follow up after the show. Be sure to check out our videos there's plenty of them on all of these programs. Again, I will be on tomorrow, really talking through the frauds and the scams that are out there, how to protect yourself as the business owner, understanding that even if you have someone else that is working on your application, if they submit fraudulent information, it comes back to you. It's coming back, right? And people message me all the time, and I've just gotten too many of these messages that I feel is necessary to do a video about the SBA, the fraud that is going on, so that you can be aware and do your due diligence and be careful out there. Stop talking to these people. They even comment on our videos. It's companies trying to pretend to be the SBA. You just have to be mindful of that. Check the email. If it doesn't have a .gov, they may use the SBA logo or a version of it and it's not the SBA. SBA emails will always have .gov on it, right? They're not going to be messaging you on Instagram and Telegram or YouTube or any of that. Okay, just be aware of that and who you're giving your information to. They're not going to ask you to send personal information via text. They're going to send you an email first, okay? And they may follow up with a phone call for additional verifications. So just be aware of that. I'll be on tomorrow to talk about it. If you have any specific questions, or if you've had any specific experiences which people have been contacting me about. I'll bring those with you as well. I'll be addressing those and how to best handle them so you don't subject yourself to any civil or criminal penalties. Okay. We have many resources and tools to help you all get free grant money for your business. So they are in the comments and the show notes and will be pinned to the comments. If you have not already subscribed, again, hit that love button, hit that thumbs up, and do share out this broadcast to help your fellow entrepreneurs and small business owners secure free funding for their business. As always, continue to be the boss with amplified impact and continue to stay in good health and stay safe. Have a wonderful day.